All right, let's talk about something that's going to completely change the way you think about reality. Everything you see, everything you touch, everything you believe to be true, it's not what it seems. And this isn't some conspiracy theory or sci-fi plot. This is science, real science. Today, we're diving into one of the most mind-blowing ideas ever proposed, the possibility that reality itself isn't physical, but something far deeper, and that behind it all, there might exist an infinite mind. Here's the thing: most of us assume we see the world as it really is. After all, evolution designed our senses to help us survive, so they must give us an accurate picture of reality, right? Wrong. According to neuroscientist Donald Hoffman, evolution didn't equip us to see the truth, it equipped us to survive. And that's a huge difference. Hoffman and his team used evolutionary game theory to test this idea, and their findings were shocking. Organisms that perceive reality as it truly is, they don't survive. They go extinct. Every time. Let's break this down. Imagine you're playing a video game. Your goal isn't to understand the programming code running the game, it's to win. You focus on the interface, the points, the characters, the rules. Evolution works in the same way. It doesn't care if you see the truth. All it cares about is whether you can pass on your genes. So the apple you see, it's not actually an apple. The chair you're sitting on, it's not really a chair. These are just simplified icons on a desktop that evolution has designed for you. Space, time, objects, they're all part of this interface, hiding the deeper reality underneath. But why would evolution hide the truth from us? Think about it. If you had to process every single detail of the world, every atom, every quantum fluctuation, you'd be overwhelmed. You wouldn't have time to eat, find shelter, or reproduce. So evolution gave us shortcuts, simple, colorful icons that let us interact with the world without being bogged down by its complexity. It's like looking at your phone screen. You see the Instagram icon, but you don't see the millions of lines of code behind it. Our senses work the same way.
Click subscribe to this channel to get more topics you love.
Now, here's the crazy part. If space and time are just part of this interface, then what's behind it? What's the real code? This is where Hoffman's theory gets wild. He suggests that behind the interface, reality might not be physical at all. Instead, it might be made of consciousness minds interacting with other minds. And not just human minds. We're talking about something much, much bigger. Imagine reality as a massive social network. Each node in the network is a conscious agent, something that has experiences, makes decisions, and interacts with others. This network, according to Hoffman, is the true fabric of reality. Space and time are just tools we use to visualize it. And here's where it gets even deeper. Hoffman's math suggests the possibility of an infinite mind, a single, unifying consciousness that contains all other minds. Think of it like the internet, billions of individual websites, all connected through one underlying system. Could this infinite mind be the ultimate reality? Could it be everything? Now, take a moment to think about what this means. If your senses are lying to you, then how do you really know anything? How do you know I'm even real right now? Hold on to that thought, because in the next part, we're going to explore the nature of consciousness itself and why some scientists think it's the only thing that truly exists. If space, time, and physical objects are just an interface, then what's left? Consciousness. That's it. And I know what you're thinking. Wait, are you saying the universe is made of thoughts? Not exactly. but let's break it down. Science has been trying to explain consciousness for centuries, and here's the truth: it's failed. Sure, we've mapped the brain. We know which neurons light up when you see the color red or hear a song. But here's the problem: we still don't know how neurons create experiences. How does a bunch of electrical signals in your brain turn into the taste of chocolate or the feeling of love? This is what scientists call the hard problem of consciousness, and no one has solved it. This is where Hoffman flips the script. Instead of trying to explain consciousness as something the brain produces, he asks, what if we've been looking at it backward? What if consciousness isn't something the brain creates, but something that creates the brain? What if consciousness is the fundamental building block of reality, and everything else, space, time, matter, is just a byproduct? Think of it like this. When you open an app on your phone, the app isn't inside the phone. It's a representation of something happening on a server far away. Your phone is just the interface. In the same way, your brain might just be an interface for something deeper: your consciousness. And here's the twist: your consciousness isn't isolated. It's connected to the entire network. Now, let's go back to the idea of the infinite mind. If consciousness is the fundamental reality, then it's possible that all individual minds, yours, mine, everyone's, are part of a larger, universal consciousness. Imagine the internet again. Each of us is like a single web page, but we're all connected through the same network. This universal consciousness might be what some people call God, or the universe, or simply the infinite mind. And here's the fascinating part: Hoffman's math suggests that this infinite mind isn't just possible, it's necessary. But what does this mean for you? If your mind is part of an infinite network, then who are you really? Are you just an individual, or are you something much bigger? And if consciousness is the only thing that exists, then what happens when you die? Do you disappear, or do you return to the infinite mind? In the next part, we're tackling the ultimate question: what happens when we die? And trust me, the answers will change the way you see life and death forever. Let's get real. One of the biggest questions humanity has ever faced is what happens when we die. If consciousness is fundamental, if it's the fabric of reality, then death might not be the end. In fact, according to Hoffman's theory, it's not the end at all. Here's the idea. If your consciousness is part of an infinite network, then your individual mind is like a ripple in a vast ocean. When the ripple fades, the ocean doesn't disappear. It's still there. And this isn't just wishful thinking. Hoffman's theory of conscious realism suggests that consciousness doesn't end when the interface of space and time disappears. Instead, it continues as part of the infinite network. Think about this. If space and time are just tools for humans to interact with reality, then death might just be the moment when your interface shuts down. But the deeper reality, the network of consciousness, goes on. In this view, death isn't an end. It's a transition. Your individual mind, your unique experiences, might dissolve back into the infinite mind, but nothing is truly lost. This raises some profound questions. If consciousness doesn't end at death, then what is the purpose of life? Are we here to learn, to grow, to connect with the infinite mind? And if we're all part of the same network, how does that change the way we treat each other? What Hoffman's theory gives us isn't just a new way of understanding reality, it's a new way of understanding ourselves. It's a reminder that we're not separate from the universe. We are the universe, experiencing itself through the interface of space, time, and the human mind. So, the next time you look at the world around you, remember it's not the full picture. It's just the desktop. And behind it, there's something infinite, something extraordinary, waiting to be discovered. And here's the most important part. This isn't just a theory to think about, it's something to live by. If reality is truly interconnected, if we're all part of this larger infinite mind, then how we act and how we think matters more than we realize. Let me explain why this is so powerful. If your consciousness is connected to the infinite mind, then every thought you have, every action you take, ripples through the entire network. Think of it like this: when you drop a pebble into a pond, the ripples spread out far beyond where the pebble lands. In the same way, your choices, your kindness, your love, they don't just affect you or the people directly around you. They resonate through the network, shaping the larger reality we're all a part of. This might sound abstract, but it has real, practical implications. If your thoughts and actions are part of this infinite network, then they carry immense power. You're not just living for yourself, you're contributing to the entire system. So ask yourself, what kind of ripples are you creating? Are you spreading fear, anger, and division? Or are you spreading curiosity, compassion, and connection? This isn't just about being a better person, it's about understanding that your consciousness is a piece of something infinite, and everything you do has meaning. Even the smallest acts of kindness, the tiniest moments of creativity, matter on a cosmic scale. But let's take it a step further. If death is just a transition, if your individual mind dissolves back into the infinite mind, then what does that mean for how you live your life? Maybe it's not about accumulating possessions or power. Maybe it's not even about achieving your personal goals. What if the real purpose of life is to experience, to grow, and to contribute to the infinite mind? What if everything you go through, the joys, the struggles, the heartbreaks, is a way for the infinite mind to learn and evolve through you? And here's a question to really think about. If your consciousness is eternal, what would you do differently? Would you spend less time worrying about things that don't matter? Would you take more risks, follow your passions, connect more deeply with the people around you? Would you approach life with less fear and more curiosity, knowing that this isn't the end, but just one chapter in a much larger story? Now, let's circle back to something we touched on earlier, the idea that space and time are just a user interface. If this is true, then the boundaries between you and the rest of the universe are an illusion. You're not separate from the people around you, or from the stars in the sky, or from the infinite mind itself. You're part of a single, interconnected reality. And this understanding can completely transform how you see the world. Think about it. If we're all part of the same network, then every person you meet is another expression of the same infinite mind. Every interaction is an opportunity to connect with a piece of yourself that exists in someone else. This means that empathy isn't just a moral value, it's a recognition of the deeper truth of reality. When you help someone, you're not just helping them, you're helping the entire system, including yourself. And here's where it gets even more practical. If reality is made of consciousness, then your thoughts and beliefs play a huge role in shaping your experience. This isn't some new age idea, it's a logical extension of Hoffman's theory. If your mind is part of the fabric of reality, then what you focus on, what you believe, what you imagine, it all matters. Your mind isn't just reacting to reality, it's helping to create it. So ask yourself, what are you focusing on? What stories are you telling yourself about your life, about the world, about what's possible? If your consciousness is part of the infinite mind, then those stories aren't just in your head, they're shaping the reality you experience. This doesn't mean you can magically wish your problems away, but it does mean that your perspective has power. The way you frame your experiences, the way you approach challenges, the way you imagine the future, it all ripples out through the network. And here's something else to consider: if your consciousness is eternal, then failure isn't the end. Mistakes aren't permanent, they're just part of the process. Think about what that means for your life. How much fear would you let go of if you knew that every failure was just a stepping stone in a much larger journey? How much more boldly would you live if you knew that nothing was truly lost? But let's not stop there. If Hoffman's theory is correct, then consciousness doesn't just connect us to each other, it connects us to the universe itself. This means that curiosity isn't just a personal trait. It's a way of engaging with the infinite mind. Every time you learn something new, every time you explore a new idea, you're contributing to the evolution of consciousness. You're helping the infinite mind understand itself. So, here's my challenge to you: live as though your consciousness is infinite. Live as though your thoughts, your actions, your experiences matter not just to you, but to the entire system. Live with curiosity, with compassion, with courage. Because if Hoffman is right, and I think he is, then you're not just a small, separate being in a vast, indifferent universe. You're part of something extraordinary. You're part of the infinite mind. And maybe, just maybe, the purpose of life isn't to discover the truth of reality. Maybe it's to create it. Maybe the infinite mind is evolving through us, through our experiences, our choices, our connections. And maybe the greatest gift we can give to the universe is to live fully, to love deeply, and to imagine boldly. So, the next time you look at the world around you, remember, it's not the full picture. It's just the desktop. Behind it, there's something infinite, something extraordinary, waiting for you to explore it.